Wow, things just blew up in the United States Senate as Donald Trump's FBI Director Kash Patel just testified before a hearing in the Senate. Kash Patel now claims that there were no other men or individuals involved in the sex trafficking ring with Jeffrey Epstein. Kash Patel also admitted to using the FBI private jet paid for by United States taxpayers to take a trip with Mel Gibson to watch a UFC fight. There were numerous other stunning admissions, and at some points when Kash Patel was being asked about the Epstein files, he simply just started yelling at the senators who were asking him questions. At one point, Senator Booker even said, "I don't think you're going to even show up to a future oversight committee based on how bad you are doing right now." Let's take a look at what went down. You had MAGA Republican Senator Kennedy ask Kash Patel, who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women? It should be girls. Who did he traffic these girls to? To which Kash Patel said, there's no credible information that anybody else was involved other than Epstein. So not only are they covering up for Trump right now in his dark past, they're covering up for all men in general. Here, watch this disgusting clip. Let's play it.
You've seen most of the files. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
Himself. There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
In the files?
In the case file.
Okay.
Next, Kash Patel starts to yell at Democratic Senator Adam Schiff, who is simply asking some pretty basic questions about Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, like why did you move Ghislaine Maxwell, a convicted sex trafficker, from the maximum security facility she was in Tallahassee to a minimum security facility in Texas? Listen to Kash Patel just starts to yell. Here, play this clip.
Said, move her to a prison not suitable for a sex offender. You want the American people to believe that? Do you think they're stupid?
No. I think the American people believe the truth, that I'm not in the weeds on the everyday movements of inmates.
Not in the weeds?
What I am doing is protecting this country, providing historic reform, and combating the weaponization of intelligence by the likes of you. And we have countlessly proven you to be a liar in Russiagate, in January 6th. You are the biggest fraud to ever sit in the United States Senate. You are a disgrace to this institution and an utter coward.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised that you continue to lie from your perch and put on a show so you can go raise money for your charade. You are a political buffoon at best.
Well, you can take an internet troll.
Take it to the bank that the FBI is protecting this country and the state and citizens of California. We are bringing historic reform.
Next, Senator Schiff asked Kash Patel if he ever terminated or disciplined any FBI employee because they worked on a January 6th case. Kash Patel just starts kind of yelling again, and he refuses to answer the question. He calls it a trap. Here, play this clip.
So let me just be precise, and I asked for a yes or no answer. Did you ever terminate or discipline an FBI employee in whole or in part because they had been assigned or worked on an investigation of Donald Trump or January 6th?
FBI employees are only terminated if they fail to uphold their oaths of office and duty.
You're not answering my question.
I don't have to answer your question yes or no because you're setting up a trap so you can have a media narrative.
I'm not setting up a trap,
and I'm not giving it to you.
Unless it's true that you fired people.
People have been terminated at the FBI who failed to uphold the standards that the FBI requires them to uphold.
Then you had Senator Booker just come in with the hammer, and he was like, here's the thing. I don't think I'm even going to see you again at a future hearing. That's how bad you are doing. Here, play this clip.
But here's the thing, Mr. Patel. I think you're not going to be around long. I think this might be your last oversight hearing. Because as much as you supplicate yourself to the will of Donald Trump and not the Constitution of the United States of America, Donald Trump has shown us in his first term and in this term, he is not loyal to people like you. He will cut you loose. This may be the last time I have a hearing with you because I don't think you're long for your job. But I'm going to tell you this. I pray for you. I pray for you that you can step up and defend your oath, defend the Constitution, and do a much better job of defending this country. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Do you want to say anything?
Yes, sir. That rant of false information does not bring this country together. If you want to work on bringing this country, it's my time, not yours.
My God.
If you want to talk about
dividing this country,
it is
I
my
follow
time.
you on your social media posts that
It is
tear
my
this country
time
apart.
to address
There should be a
your
unifying-
falsehoods.
Oh,
You are an
you can try
embarrassment
all
to the
you
division
want
in this country.
to not
Senator,
take
it is
my
responsibility
time.
for what
You
you
had
have
your
said.
time.
Sir, you're
Your
making a
time is
mockery of this
over.
committee. Sir, you don't tell me my time is over.
You
The
know how
people
far
of New
we've
Jersey
come
tell me
since
what my
you
time
tell-
is.
Senator,
You can't lecture me.
You can tell me
Sir,
my time's over?
You may be the charge of the
I'm not
FBI,
going anywhere.
but I am not afraid of you, sir.
Mr. Chairman,
Not afraid of you.
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
Let's be honest, most jeans out there weren't designed for guys of varying shapes and sizes. We're not all built like mannequins. We've got muscles, different waistlines, and zero interest in squeezing into something that feels like denim prison. I used to dread jean shopping, either too tight in the thighs, sagging in the back, or stiff enough to double as armor. But then I found the perfect jean, and no joke, these things changed the game. They come in 6 fits, 13 washes, waist sizes up to 50 inches, and lengths up to 36. That's over 5,000 combos, so unless you're shaped like a centaur, you will find your fit. I got a pair and instantly felt the difference. Stretchy, soft, no awkward pinch, and I could actually move. Even got a few compliments, which never happens with jeans. For a limited time, our listeners get 15% off their first order, plus free shipping at theperfectjean.nyc, or Google The Perfect Jean and use code MeidasTouch for 15% off. That's MEIDAS15. And it's not just jeans, by the way. They've got buttery soft tees and polos, shorts that give thick thighs some breathing room, and den khakis that look boardroom ready but feel like joggers. Now here's the deal. It's finally time to stop crushing your jewels in uncomfortable jeans by going to theperfectjean.nyc. Our listeners get 15% off your first order, plus free shipping, free returns, and free exchanges when you use code MeidasTouch at checkout. That's 15% off for new customers at theperfectjean.nyc with promo code MeidasTouch. That's MEIDAS15. After you purchase, they'll ask about where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Forget your khakis and get the perfect jean.
Next up, you have Senator Welch expose that Kash Patel was flying on taxpayer-funded private jets with Mel Gibson to watch UFC fights. And Kash Patel's like, what am I supposed to do? I live in Vegas. I got to get back home. Here, play this clip.
Kash's corner. You were rightly critical of the way that the previous FBI director used the FBI jet. And you said you wanted to ground Chris Wray's private jet travel that he pays for with taxpayer dollars to hop around the country. Let me ask you this. You know, on the weekend of, according to flight tracker data, on the weekend of March 7th, an FBI plane flew round trip from D.C. to Las Vegas, and you attended a UFC fight with Mel Gibson. And I'll show you that. Is that you, and is that true?
Yeah, you want to know the difference? I live in Las Vegas. I'm allowed to go home. I didn't leave a congressional hearing early on an FBI jet to dodge questions.
All right. Then on April 5th, you attended a hockey game in New York City. You don't live there, right?
No, I don't.
By the way, everyday FBI agents who are assigned in Washington don't get to fly home on a private jet.
Well, this is a great point. Do you know why I have to use a private jet? Because Congress made it mandatory.
Okay. In April 5th, well, we didn't make it mandatory that you go to UFC games with Mel Gibson.
Are you telling me I can't go home?
You know, you got to use some judgment here.
So when I'm at home, I can't do what I'm doing when I go home. Everybody else is allowed to go home,
Let
just
me
not
keep
me.
going. No, I'm glad you go home.
Okay.
I love to go home, but I don't go home on a private jet. On April 5th,
They're not mandated to do so.
You attended a hockey game in New York City with Wayne Gretzky, and Flight Tracker says the FBI jet took you to and from New York City, where you don't live, right?
That's correct.
And on April 12th, on the following weekend, you attended a UFC fight in Miami, also on the FBI jet, right?
That's correct.
So what's the cost to the taxpayer for those 3 flights?
I pay the commercial equivalent per the regs and the law. And so just so you know, when you are comparing me to prior directors.
I asked what the cost was, and you don't know. I take it.
Yeah, and what I've done with the use of the private jet is use Andrews Air Force Base versus Reagan National as what the other directors have done
Bottom line
to save the taxpayer dollars.
Bottom line here, you flew home to Las Vegas. There's nobody else in the FBI who gets paid. They have to pay their own way if they want to go home, right? I mean, right?
Well, that's not accurate. Depending on where you're stationed, the FBI covers the bill to get home.
So are you telling me that FBI agents who are assigned in Washington, but who may live in Charlotte, they get paid by the FBI?
Sometimes they do, yes.
Right.
Also, you're the FBI director. Like, why don't you live where the FBI office is? In Washington, D.C.? Maybe think about that one. Did that one not cross your mind? Next up, Democratic Senator Welch says, so you'll admit, though, you made a mistake when you posted on social media that you got the suspect and it wasn't the right suspect in the shooting of Charlie Kirk. Like, you'll admit that. And then Kash Patel's like, that wasn't a mistake. That's what we do. Operationally, that's what you do. Here, play this clip.
But I was doing the best I could.
You know, candor, I don't quite get that, because if we have our man, that would suggest to the public that everybody can rest and relax and not then continue to provide information to local law enforcement and to you. So that was a mistake.
I don't see it as a mistake. I see it as something working with the public to identify that there was a subject in custody.
If you put out a statement that says we've got our man, and in fact, it turns out that you didn't have your man, that's not a mistake?
But that's not what I said.
Then in this interesting moment, Kash Patel is asked questions by Democratic Senator Klobuchar, and Patel admits that an assault weapons ban could stop some of these shootings that we see. Here, play this clip.
So my first question is on the assault weapon ban. Do you think that would be helpful in reducing gun deaths, Director?
Senator, I think there are instances on this legislation that could prevent future attacks, but I'm not going to weigh into the creation of legislation.
Then Kash Patel admits that he hasn't even reviewed the Epstein files in their entirety. Play the clip.
Have you seen the Epstein files?
I have not reviewed the entirety of it myself, but a good amount.
Here's a longer portion of another exchange between Senator Schiff and Patel, where Kash Patel then says, well, I never said that there were no other people involved in the trafficking ring. You're taking my words out of context. And then Senator Schiff is like, we just heard your words. Here, play this clip.
Follow up on Senator Kennedy's question, because he asked you, and I'll be very precise here. You've seen most of the files. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself? And you said, himself. There's no credible information, none. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And Kennedy, the information we have again is limited. And Senator Kennedy said, the answer is no one. And you said, for the information we have. So is it your testimony today that in all the Epstein files, that Jeffrey Epstein trafficked no one to anyone but himself? Is that your testimony, Mr.
I never
Patel?
said Jeffrey Epstein didn't traffic anyone else.
Did he traffic any young woman to someone other than himself? That was Mr. Kennedy's question, Senator Kennedy's question.
The information that 3 administrations have had access to have made determinations that there are no investigative leads that were credible to prosecute and investigate any others. I'm specifically stating
whether it's your testimony today.
Well, you just read it, and I said it 10 minutes ago, so let the record reflect my testimony.
I just want to make sure there's no misunderstanding, because there are victims like Virginia Guifer who have testified otherwise, who have said otherwise, and you're telling the American people today that the Epstein list is a single name and it's Jeffrey Epstein. That's what we're to believe?
That's not what I'm saying. That's what you're saying, and you can say whatever you want.
Let me ask you this. When Todd Blanche went to interview Ghislaine Maxwell, she said, but did I think these guys were coming for that? I really don't. If you met Epstein, there's no way that this cast of characters, of which it's extraordinary, and some are in your cabinet, who you value as your co-workers, and you know would be with him if he was a creep or because they wanted sexual favors. A man wants sexual favors, he will find out. They didn't have to come to Epstein for that. And the next question Todd Blanche, the president's former criminal defense lawyer, asked is not who in the cabinet, who are you referring to? His question is, so when's the last time you think you were with Mr. Epstein when he got a massage? So let me ask you, who are those cabinet members that Ghislaine Maxwell was referring to that were part of this cast of characters associated with Mr. Epstein? Who are they?
The Deputy Attorney General took the aggressive step that no one else did and interviewed Miss Maxwell for 2 days, and we released the entirety of that transcript.
Who are the cabinet members?
I do not have that transcript in front of me. You're picking it piecemeal. The American public can read the entirety of that.
Then you have Kash Patel brag that crime is down across the country, even though Donald Trump is saying the exact opposite. Here, play this clip.
In fact, one of the stats that the American people should thank the FBI the most for is we are on track to have the lowest murder rate in modern American history. The lowest murder rate by double-digit percentages.
Senator Dick Durbin asks Kash Patel about the memo from July where the DOJ and FBI said that there's no additional credible leads in the Epstein files and they're shutting down their investigation. And Durbin asked, why wasn't it signed? To which Kash Patel goes, what? It should have been an auto pen. You want me to use auto pens? No, he's just asking you why no one put their name to the document and signed it. Here, play this clip.
Did a whistleblower ever make a disclosure to Attorney General Bondi indicating that the New York field office was withholding Epstein-related records?
I'm not familiar with that whistleblower.
You know that there was such a whistleblower?
I'm not familiar with that whistleblower.
In response to the blowback she received, Attorney General Bondi also pushed the FBI to review approximately 100,000 Epstein-related records on an arbitrarily short deadline in March, and the FBI was directed to flag any documents that mentioned President Trump. Nothing came of that review until July, when DOJ and FBI released an unsigned memorandum stating there is no incriminating client list. Why was this July 7th memorandum unsigned?
Would you prefer I've used AutoPen?
Why was it unsigned?
The memorandum had the insignia of the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And in our effort to secure transparency for the American people, because the 3 prior administrations had not done so, we conducted an exhaustive search of everything related to the Epstein cases. And we produced what was legally and permissibly able to be produced to Congress and the American public.
So
and there's a congressional subpoena, and we're continuing to do so.
Did you personally direct that investigation so that you would sign such a...
Did I personally direct what investigation?
Of the Epstein records for any reference to President Trump?
Again, you are citing reporting that I think is baseless. We conducted an investigation of the Epstein case files pursuant to the direction of the president of the administration to provide all credible information. And we are working with Congress pursuant to a congressional subpoena to turn over all the documents we can. All individuals.
Who at DOJ and FBI?
Next, you have Senator Hirono points out that Kash Patel doesn't even know who works at major cybersecurity positions after he fired the supremely qualified individuals because of Trump's desire for retribution and retaliation. Let's play it.
Patel, the FBI is also the lead federal agency for investigating cyber attacks and cyber intrusions, both by foreign nation states and by non-state hacker groups. Since President Trump's inauguration, the executive assistant director in charge of the criminal and the cyber branch and the head of the FBI's cyber division have both left the FBI. What are the names of the people who replace them in those positions?
The cyber branch is one of the most impressive at the FBI. 409 arrests this year, 169 convictions. That's a 42% increase from the same time last year. So any suggestion that the FBI cyber division is not operating at full capacity and better than ever before, the leadership at the branch is implementing these changes necessary to attack the cyber and ransomware infrastructure operators
for
Iran, China, and Russia.
They're important. I want to know who has those positions, since the people who originally were there
supremely qualified individuals have those positions.
Are they?
Supremely qualified individuals.
Who are they? What are the names?
You're not getting.
You don't know. Special agents.
And then finally, you have Senator Blumenthal questioning Kash Patel about the White House's influence in hiring and firing decisions, and Kash Patel refuses to answer the question. Here, play this clip.
Institutional interference that we're seeing from the White House right now. I'm going to ask you, has anyone from the White House contacted you about personnel decisions?
I completely disagree with your entire premise that I have lied or am misleading the FBI. If I were, the results that I announced today by the men and women of the FBI and the historic records we are doing to keep this country safe would not be possible. The men and women of the FBI are responding to our leadership and this administration's priorities. The only way people get terminated at the FBI is if they fail to meet the muster of the job and their duties. And that is where I will leave it. And you accusing me of lying is something I don't take lightly, but I'm not going to get into a tit for tat with you.
Well, let me just ask you to answer my question. Has anyone from the White House contacted you about personnel decisions?
Generally speaking, we always discuss with the White House, OMB, during the budget process, how many personnel we need, who we need where.
Answer is yes.
For budgetary purposes and
to fire people, agents, because they participated in investigations of the president.
I don't receive directions to do that.
Has anyone
I make the
suggested
decisions.
it? Has anyone asked you to do it? The best information is, yes, you've taken suggestions and direction from the White House in firing qualified agents.
Any termination at the FBI was a decision that I made based on the evidence that I have as a director of the FBI, and it's my job, and I'm not going to shy away from it. And as you stated, those are allegations, and that is an ongoing litigation. So they'll have their day in court, so will we.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million, and thank you so much for watching.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.